Hello children, welcome back. Now we are going to study more about the beaks of the birds. So we have known how a bird can fly because of their hollow bones and their flight muscles help them to flap the wings. So there are some flightless birds also which stay on their land because of their heavy bones, and they don't have such strong flight muscles which help them to move up, to fly upwards, so they stay on land. Some of the birds we have learnt as aquatic. Their wings secrete some oil glands. They have some oil glands and they secrete oil into it so that their feathers don't get spoilt in water, and their webbed feet helps them to swim in water. Now we have come to the different kinds of beaks of a bird. The first kind of beak is the hard, strong and short beak. So you can see the sparrow's beak and the pigeon's beak. They are hard and they are strong also. And they have a short beak. So pigeons and sparrows have hard, strong and short beak because they like to eat grains. This type of beak enables them to pick up and crush the grains. So their short beak helps them to crush the grains and eat them. So since they rely on totally on grains, that is why their beaks help them to crush the grains. Next we have sharp, strong and hooked beak. Now you can see a vulture and parrots. So they have some bent beaks. So kite, eagle, vulture and hawk are flesh-eating animals. So some birds are also flesh-eating and they depend on other animals. So they have strong and sharp beaks. So their beaks are very strong and sharp. These birds use their beak to tear the flesh of their prey. A parrot has a hooked beak. Hooked beak helps it to crack nuts and bit at hard fruits. So their strong beaks help them to uh, crack the nuts and also bit hard fruits also. So that is why they have some bent beaks, because they are carnivorous birds. Then we have the strong and chisel shaped beak. Woodpecker and hoopoe have strong and chisel shaped beak which help them in making holes in the barks of trees and pulling out insects to eat. So you can see a woodpecker, it has a very long beak and it is very chisel shaped. It is pointed from the on one end. So this helps to pull the insects out of their uh, houses and eat them, and they can also make the bark they can also make holes in the bark of trees. Then we have the broad and flat beak. So the broad and flat beak is of ducks that have broad and flat beak. There are slits one side of the uh, beak. So water and mud go out through these slits or strainers, leaving the fish and tiny worms in the beak. So when water goes into their strainers, they have a little cut at the end. So mud and water that goes into the slit, and all the fish and tiny worms, they stay inside and the water is thrown outside. Then there are broad and short beaks. Swallow has this is a swallow's beak which has broad and short one. Swallow has broad and short beak. It is sticky from inside. Swallow keep its beak open to catch the flying insect. Small insects stick to the beak and birds swallow them up. So this is how it gets its food. So it has a very sticky substance inside there, inside its beak. So whenever a insect, it keeps its beak open, and whenever a flying insect tends to cross through it, it gets stick in its beak, and the bird swallows it up. This is how it is eats food. Then long and pointed beak. So the hoopoe, this is a hoopoe, and the cattle egret have long and pointed beak. They use their beak to pull out insects from holes in the ground and trees. So hoopoe depends on the insects, small insects, and their pointed beak helps them to bring out the insects from their holes. Now write the uses of the following beak. So a duck's beak, what is the use of it? You have to write it in this activity. So there is a small activity and you have to do it. Feet and claws. Now we will see what kind of feet and claws these birds have. So birds have 2 legs and 2 feet whose claws are present at the tip of the toes. They use their feet to move, catch food, and protect themselves from enemies. The living habits of the birds can be judged from their claws. So, their claws are the identification that they show what the bird is and where the bird uh, lives. So, either it lives on land or water. This is known from their claws. First is the perching birds. Now, perching birds like crow, pigeon, and sparrow have their toes, 3 in front and 1 at the back. Their toes help them to hold the branch of a tree firmly. While perching, they can sleep at night without feeling tired. So, this is what a perching bird is, and the sparrow can sleep without any fear or without any tiredness. Then there's a scratching birds. Hens have 3 toes in front and 1 short toe at the back. The toes possesses a horny claw. They scratch the ground with their claws to eat insects and buried seeds. So hens have 3 toes, and they have horny claws, and this helps them to scratch the ground and find the insects that hide inside the soil and find them and eat them. Then we have the wading birds. Birds like cranes, heroics, etc., have long legs with spreading toes which can wade through muddy water easily. Neither their legs sink into the mud nor their bodies get wet. So, wading birds like cranes and heroics, they have long legs and their toes are spread away, and for due to which they can move the muddy water easily. So neither their legs sink into the mud nor their bodies get wet because of the uh, water. Then we have the climbing birds. Woodpecker and parrot have 2 of their toes pointing upwards. Like here you can see the woodpecker's feet. It has 2 of the toes uh, pointing upwards and the other toe pointing downwards, and one of the toes is pointing downwards. 2 of them are pointing upwards and one is and other 2 points downwards. This helps them cling to trees with 1 foot and prick the fruit which with the other foot. So this is how they adapt themselves. Then we have the praying birds. The birds like kites have sharp and curved claws which are known as talons. These claws enable the bird to grip small animals. So this is how the birds grip their animals and they catch it and move away. Then we have the swimming birds. Many swimming birds like duck, geese, swans, pelicans and gulls have webbed toes. The webbed toes enables the bird to use their feet like paddles. So you can see the duck's feet over here. It has webbed feet, and these webbed feet really help them to swim in water. That is why they live in water and they do not fly high in the sky like other birds. So, children, this is all about our chapter, and I hope you have learned a lot. So, since till we meet in our next session, it is bye bye.